First Communion always gets me in touch with my own childhood. Here at St. Anthony's, where I received my First Communion, my childhood pastor, his name was Monsignor Peter Schmitz, and he used to say, if you want joy, you have to know how to spell it. If you want joy, you have to know how to spell it. And he used to say, joy, J-O-Y. It stands for Jesus first, O, others second, and Y, you last. If you want to find true joy, know how to spell it. J standing for Jesus first, O for others second, Y for you last. If only I kept that simple message of Monsignor Schmitz from so many years ago in the forefront of my mind and heart over the years, my life would be much happier today and much more peaceful. And I think it's true of all of us. If we want joy, we have to understand that joy consists of putting Jesus first, others second, and yourself last. My sisters and brothers, on this weekend, when we celebrate the First Communion for these beautiful children, I think about the joy that Jesus wants to so desperately to give to these children, not just today, but for the rest of their lives. The highway to heaven, the pathway to joy, is opened up before us and before these children today. The pathway to heaven, Jesus first, others second, you last. Will they travel for long along this pathway? We hope so. I was reading the other day about a man by the name of Thomas Burnett. Thomas Burnett was on the flight that was hijacked at 9/11 and crashed into the rural Pennsylvania field. Thomas Burnett, 6 feet 2 inches, former football star. He was the man who overpowered the terrorists on that flight, 93. He was also a Catholic and a devout one. According to his wife, Dina, Thomas Burnett was a strong believer who had come back to the church after many years of being away. And he attended daily Mass. He prayed the Rosary daily, and he had dreamt of going on a pilgrimage to Lourdes. He spoke often of his faith, although he never pushed his faith or his beliefs on anyone. His wife tells how Tom's parents gave him a strong faith. Thomas Burnett came to a church like this when he was a small child like these to receive his first Holy Communion. The direction, the pathway for the rest of his life was set before him that day. And his parents did their best to keep him headed in the right direction. As I said, he left the church for a while, but the basics of the Catholic faith that his parents instilled in him when he was a child remained so much a part of him that when he returned to the church, it was not a new path. It was rediscovering the path forged for him by his parents when he was a child. Thomas Burnett is a hero today, I believe, because of what happened so many years ago before the fateful 9/11 attack when Thomas Burnett received his First Communion. Tom Burnett is a hero today because his parents made sure the foundation laid at his First Communion would be the solid basis for his decisions throughout his life. What would have happened on Flight 93 if Tom Burnett had not been on that flight? What would have happened to the White House or the Capitol? And what would have happened if Tom Burnett had not made his First Communion, had not been raised by God-loving parents, and had not learned and loved his Catholic faith? What would have happened if he had not prayed the Rosary daily or been a daily communicant at Mass? What would have happened if Tom Burnett could not have found the courage to do what he did, helping those fellow passengers in the last moments of their lives in attacking the hijackers? Courage to do what is right. Where will these children find it? The answer is in the Gospel, chapter 10 of John that we heard a moment ago. Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. In, with, and through Jesus Christ, we can find the courage to do what seems to be impossible. Right here at this altar, in the Mass, Jesus comes to make us more like himself. Courage is found here. Courage to find joy. Where do we find joy? Where do we find strength? In the Blessed Sacrament. And here at the altar, in the Blessed Sacrament and the Holy Eucharist, we come to recognize the simple formula of faith that Monsignor Schmitz taught me so many years ago. Jesus first, others second, you last. Joy. Joy to believe in self-sacrifice. Joy to believe in loving others to the point of suffering, even death. Here at the altar, and also in your home, in the homes of these little boys and girls, they can find the joy that Christ invites us to in a special way today. At home, where good, faith-filled, committed Catholic Christian parents build a solid foundation for the future of their children. Tom Burnett. He flew on Flight 93, and when he knew the hijackers had taken charge of the plane, he called his wife on the cell phone. And he said to his wife, they're talking about crashing this plane into the ground. We have to do something. I'm putting a plan together. We're going to take back this plane. We can't wait for the authorities. I don't know what they could do anyway. It's up to us. I think we can do it. His wife asked him, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Pray, Dina, said Tom. Just pray. And so, through prayer and faith, Tom Burnett stopped the terrorists from causing even greater tragedy. His attitude was the attitude of faith, the attitude of Christ. To find true joy, Jesus first, others second, you last. And that attitude was planted in Tom Burnett's heart on a day like today when he made his first Holy Communion. Later, his wife Dina said after the tragedy that the tragedy strengthened her faith in God. She said, I found that I was more dependent upon God. It was the only comfort that I could find. It is being able to pray and feel as if I'm in the presence of God. Yes, in the presence of God. That's what this day is all about. Yes, it's all about the presence of God. It's all about the pathway he sets before us. It's all about the roadway to joy. Jesus first, others second, you last.